good morning, good afternoon, or for some of you, good evening, or if you're watching the recording of this, welcome to Friday, March 4th, Fierce Friday. My name is Jody Parker. I am one of 5 members of the Million Mom Movement Council. And here at the Million Mom Movement, we are dedicated to helping you guys live a healthier life. And today we are going to be focusing on women's health and perimenopause and menopause. Which is something that we don't typically talk about in social circles, right? But is a really big deal because we all are going to get there eventually. So I'm excited for that. But first, we always do some housekeeping in the beginning so that you guys can meet us and know what we're about. And so I'm going to introduce my colleague, Carmela Velarde, who is going to read the pledge of the Million Mom Movement. Carmela.
Thanks, Jody. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. So I'm going to share screen and take you guys to our website, which is millionmommovement.info. And why are we talking about the pledge? It's because we are locking arms with like-minded people within our community. And what does that mean? It means that we all are working our very best to uphold this pledge. You might be at the very beginning stages of starting to clean out your pantries and really starting to become more clean and green and organic. But this is the pledge, and please do read it along with me. Usually we have a little helper, but it's me today. So I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and the environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement. And the movement of many includes all caregivers, everyone committed to living their best self and showing up here in our community to really take this pledge seriously because it will affect the future generations on a cellular level. So we have many solutions here. And today we get to share about women's health that I'm really excited to focus on nutrition and how we can honor our bodies and honor our families in this process. So I pass the mic back over to you, Jody.
Thank you, Carmela. So Stephanie Dawn, our chair, is in and out on Zoom today. She doesn't have great access, but good morning, Stephanie. And Naiva Flore is at the Oasis, at Dave Sandoval's Oasis, and they have not great Zoom there either. So I'm going to fill in for her today as the social media person and sharing our social media with you so that you know where to find us. I'm going to share my screen. This is Facebook. And this is the Million Mom Movement official group. That's our private group where you can join us and post and ask questions and share information. And at the very top of this page, you can see there's the very top, there is this pinned announcement. And that's where you can find all the information on how to follow us on social media. Obviously, this is Facebook. We also have a business page just called Million Mom Movement. We are on Instagram at Million Mom Movement. We're also on Twitter and on YouTube. And the best way for us to reshare your information is for you to tag us. So on Instagram, in your stories, or on Facebook, you can tag at Million Mom Movement. And then if you use the hashtags Million Mom Movement, I am the Million Mom Movement, or we are the Million Mom Movement, that is what we search for in order to find your posts, in order to share you and celebrate you and to share information. So we ask that you use that tag and those hashtags. And every time we post on Instagram, it goes into Facebook, we get it on Twitter, and all of our recordings of Fierce Friday are on our YouTube channel. So when you go to YouTube, I'm going to stop my share now. When you go to YouTube, you just want to search Million Mom Movement channel, and all our recordings are there for the last couple of years. There is a lot of information. It's a huge resource along with our website, millionmommovement.info. And we want you guys to be able to use it. We want to create this content for you. And so that's it. That's our housekeeping. I'm going to hand it over to my very, very intelligent friend, Tas Ferreria, who knows all about this. And Tas, teach us, my friend.
Hello, everyone. So we are kicking off March with women's health, right? And what better way to do it than talk about something that have been affecting women? But you know what? It's not just affecting women. It's affecting everyone around us. It's affecting our men. It's affecting our children, right? Perimenopause and menopause. So what we've been noticing is that women are getting this sooner and sooner than ever. So I did a lunch and learn all about this, right? Menopause and perimenopause. But backed by popular demand, we've been overwhelmed with so many questions. And we're like, what better way than to start to begin March with this again? So I was like, where am I going to focus on? There's so much to talk about. So I think that's going to be my biggest struggle is the time management and how much I can get, how much I can speak about on today's call. So let's open it up. I have slides for you, and don't worry, don't take notes. We're going to have it in a blog. So I'm just going to talk to you guys first about what it is, perimenopause and menopause. And you know what? You can keep the chat open, ask all your questions there. We're gonna have a Q&A session, and we're gonna have testimonials because we wanna hear from you who have had successes, who have had perimenopause, menopause, and post-menopause. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen now. All right, beautiful. So I try to dissect this as easy as possible. Menopause and perimenopause. So, first, these are the topics we're going to be talking about today. How to recognize menopause and perimenopause, balancing your hormones and stress management, linking your blood sugar, mineral deficiencies, and hot flashes. And you know what? I always present solutions. So how nutrition may help manage all of this. Okay. Recognizing the signs and symptoms. So this is huge because you could be experiencing perimenopause for 3 to 13 years and not even know you're going through perimenopause. You know, a lot of times people usually recognize it when they're having a fluctuation of their periods. But you know what? Let me tell you, it's more than that. So I'm going to be breaking down some things. Let me know if anything sounds familiar to you, and drop a 1 in the comments to let me know if you experience one or many of these symptoms. Okay, so how to recognize it. Weight gain, having trouble sleeping, water retention, mood swings, passing gas, headaches. Yes, headaches are one of them as well. Muscle stiffness, right? Have you even thought about that? Which leads to arthritis, right? Irregular menstruation. I know that's the number one thing that everyone looks at. They're like, something's happening with my menstruation. I must be going through perimenopause. But look at everything else. Are you experiencing arthritis? Hair loss? Are you having trouble sleeping? How about, okay, I know magnesium deficiency and low progesterone are not something you would see right away, but everything else, you will know it will be happening, right? Okay, so when we talk about balancing hormones, okay, so this is what menopause is all about in perimenopause. It's your estrogen levels are decreasing, okay? So we're going to be talking about balancing the hormones. So balancing your hormones, or do I mean imbalance hormones, right? So menopause is highly dependent on balanced hormones, okay? And balanced hormones comes with effective stress management, your thyroid health. Okay, so you need good gut health for your thyroid to function, right? And for your gut health to be functioning, you need to be absorbing everything around you, all the minerals, everything needs to work together. I like to call this the interconnectedness at play. And what also affects your hormone levels is reducing caffeine, your coffee intake. So you know coffee affects your adrenal glands, right? Your adrenal glands affects your thyroid. So this is how everything's interconnected. So reducing your coffee, reducing your alcohol. How many of us would have a sip of wine before going to bed, and then you can't sleep, and then cascading effects of your hormone levels happens? And then removing sugar and artificial sweeteners. Okay, so hormone balance or imbalance. I just needed to put this in, okay? So yeast feeds on sugar, which imbalances the hormone. Your hemoglobins, which are your red blood cells, causes inflammation by the sugar, all right? So then an inflammation is occurring, and then this causes an imbalance of your hormones. So this is something to think about. Every time you're going for the glass of wine, or you're going for the artificial sugars, what's happening? What is it doing to your body? It's causing the imbalance, okay, right? Because the yeast in your body is like, oh, I want it, I want more of it, right? So you're like, maybe I'm going through an addiction of the sugar. No, you're going through an imbalance of your hormones. Okay, now we cannot talk about menopause without bringing up hot flashes. Hot flashes with blood sugar and mineral levels. So let's link blood sugar, hot flashes, and mineral deficiency. I know it doesn't sound like they're interlinked, right? But they are. So these can all be managed. So first, let's look at what is a hot flash, okay? A hot flash is triggered by the hypothalamus in the brain and occurs to release heat that has built up in the body in response to a surge of stress hormones, okay? High cortisol, low progesterone, low serotonin, these are all drivers of hot flashes. Okay, so don't just think, okay, maybe something's happening with my serotonin and my progesterone. It's all connected. Okay, but how can we manage this? You know, a lot of people can go through menopause and not have one of these hot flash symptoms. Did you know that? It is absolutely possible. And let me show you how you can manage it. These are my tips, okay? So 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds daily. So don't buy the pre-ground flax seeds. Buy them whole and ground them yourself. Flax seeds become rancid very easily. So I like doing it myself fresh. Reducing your caffeine, right? Because we know caffeine, as I mentioned, affects your adrenals, which affects everything else. Lower your alcohol levels, right? Because you have the sugars, you have nothing that's going to be helping your hormone levels. So eliminate wine, especially red wine. Dedicate help with stress relief, stress management habits. So what I mean by that is maybe starting to meditate, yoga, small activities. I'm not talking about high exercise, working out every single day. Just do minimal activity every day. You could maybe do 1 pound weight, something to keep your body moving. If you don't use it, you'll lose it, right guys? And I love maca root. So I incorporate maca root daily. And I love to have it in the MVP Sport. So the MVP Sport actually has maca already inside. So you have your protein and you have your maca. Amazing. And mineral deficiency is huge for hot flashes. An ionic element is a trace mineral that has it all complete, from the magnesium to everything else we need, all the trace minerals. And you know what? If you need a little bit more oomph, you can add some black cohosh as well. Okay, so blood sugar fluctuations will exacerbate hot flashes, okay? So what time of night does hot flashes occur? What I generally hear is around 2 to 4 a.m. This is the peak hours of hot flashes. And you know what else that time frame is? REM sleep, okay? This is the time your body is supposed to be repairing itself, right? But now you're not going through the DNA repair. You're not going through the synthesis of that. It's being ruptured by hot flashes because you are missing minerals. You probably had that glass of wine before bed that you didn't even think, you're like, oh, it's gonna put me into deep sleep. No, it was a not restful sleep. Now you're experiencing hot flashes where you really needed an apothecary drink in a wine glass and a little bit ionic elements, and that would put you into a deep sleep, and you will have DNA repair and adequate REM sleep, okay? It's important that your breakfast includes protein, a good healthy dose of fats, and instead of having that bagel for breakfast, see what happens when we wake up. We don't sleep at night, okay? You have that disrupted REM sleep, you have those hot flashes, then you wake up and you go for that caffeine, right? And now this is going to cause a whole more issues in the long run. Okay, so let's switch up that for instead of that or that bagel in the morning, replace it entirely with super aminos or MVP Sport for that high protein breakfast. Then you know what? To go that extra mile, pair it with your power shake for your complete micronutrients. So now you're having all your B vitamins, your protein, you're having everything complete and all your micronutrients and your ionic elements with all of your trace minerals. And let's talk about the importance of vitamin D. Did you know that you can avoid hot flashes altogether with the adequate amount of vitamin D? Did you guys know that? That has changed everything since I found this out. And vitamin D is not even a vitamin. It's a steroidal hormone, okay? And let's look, but when I say this, don't go out to the store and buy your vitamin D and think it's going to be bioavailable to the body, because it's not. You have to buy the right vitamin D paired with all the other minerals, vitamins together, because they all work together. The vitamin D needs to work with the vitamin A, which the vitamin E as well, okay? And let's look at the biochemicals in the body. A low level of vitamin D is actually the culprit of hot flashes, and vitamin D can actually affect your sex hormones, which actually lowers your estrogen levels. So I love recommending the Zincate from Purium that has all of the bioavailable vitamin D. Okay, and now let's talk about everything else that I recommend. So link between, so now you need to have your full amount of protein, B complex, vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin D, magnesium, all of your hormone support. So I like finding all of this in my food, right? But which food do I eat? So let's just make it super simple for you, right? The Power Shake has all of my B complex. Okay, so I go to that. Even my K, my vitamin K is in there. My zinc, I have my A and I have my D and I have everything else I need. The ionic elements has my magnesium, which is very critical. But not just magnesium, you have all of your other trace minerals. And again, I always say they all work interconnectively, so we use them together, right? And then we have our purest protein, the super aminos. But you can also use the MVP Sport, which I like for breakfast. I would mix that. You can add some flax seeds, you can add some oat milk, and you can add the MVP Sport. And it's a delicious pudding. And the Super Life, okay, so this is so interesting. The Super Life actually offers hormone support as well. We'll get into that. Okay, so how nutrition helps. Preventing and managing menopausal symptoms. So this is not going to eliminate menopause altogether, but we can show you how you can prevent those hot flashes and how to manage with your symptoms, okay? So a huge factor is toxins, okay? And when I say toxins, I mean food toxins, environmental toxins, toxins that we spray on our yard, pesticides. So one of the #1 toxins that we have been facing is glyphosate. So if you can eliminate glyphosate from your daily life as much as possible, I would highly recommend that. I know it's unavoidable, but at least do the best you can. And take Biomedic every day, as it eliminates 74% of glyphosate. Eliminate dairy foods from your diet. Okay, this might come as news to a lot of people, but why? Why must I eliminate dairy? Well, you know what? Dairy is pumped with a lot of hormones. And what happens is those hormones translates to your body and increases the estrogen levels in your body. And remember I said that your body needs to have the hormone levels in balance? Well, it causes it to be out of balance, right? So let's eliminate dairy altogether. Add a B complex, right? Which I love it in the form of the Power Shake and spirulina. Consume 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds daily. Increase your intake of cruciferous veggies. Eat a lot of veggies, right? So a lot of times you start eating all these salads, all these vegetables, and you're like, I still don't feel great. What's happening? I'm still experiencing those hot flashes. So what happens here is that you need to pay attention to the absorption issue. Are you absorbing all of these minerals around you? We need to start addressing our gut dysbiosis. Is our gut suffering in this moment? Because there's a connection of our gut and our brain, right? So if this is happening with our microbiome, it's going to be affecting our menopausal symptoms. So introduce your Biomedic as you have your salads. And I also love to include green spectrum. Okay, so green spectrum has all your cruciferous veggies, your dulse, your kelp, everything you need, and it tastes delicious, and it does not taste like you're having all of these sea veggies. Consume a low glycemic diet. So when I say this, remember I was talking about how sugars contributes to all of this? You need to start looking at all the sugars in your life, all the artificial sugars. A lot of times I find that women starts developing diabetes before they go into menopause. But then it becomes a full-fledged of diabetes once they get diagnosed with menopause, and then a cascading effect happens there. But why not? Let's take a look at it now. Let's take a look at it today and start cutting all of the artificial sugars around us, because this is causing more holes in your microbiome. This is causing more yeast overgrowth, and it's causing a lot of other cascading effects. Address your hypothyroidism. Okay, so it's really important that you get your thyroid checked. Okay, the whole thyroid panel. So when I say that, I mean your TSH, your T4s, the reverse, your free T4s, your reverse T3s, all of your panels must be checked, because then we can know what exactly is happening. And address your chronic stress. Going to work, is this stressing you out? Do you enjoy waking up? Are you passionate what you're doing each and every day? So this can be an indicator of your life. Maybe you need to switch fields. Maybe you don't need to be doing that anymore. Maybe you can put your focus into something, right? Because once your cortisol level increases, this has a huge part of your health, of your immunity. Okay, and ensure adequate levels of magnesium. And I like incorporating ionic spectrum each and every day, because for me, it's a complete trace minerals with my magnesium. Okay, these are one of my key products I love to recommend for menopause. Okay, we have the Women's Defense. So there are secret ingredients in Women's Defense I love. We have the red clover, which is a phytoestrogen, okay? And then there's soy, which is an estrogen-like compound, which is okay. And red clover is especially good for menopause. It's similar to the female hormone estrogen. It's a phytoestrogen, means from plants. It helps a thinning of hair loss. So I know everyone's getting pretty excited now, right? You didn't know it helped the hair. Now you know it's gonna help the hair. Now you're gonna order it. Well, good. Don't forget to pair that with your biomedic. So we have to always remember, it's not because of low estrogen that you're going through menopause. It's because of the imbalance of estrogen, okay? Then Be Energetic is another one that I love recommending. So Be Energetic may help protect the liver, detoxify, helps histamine levels. Okay, have you noticed anyone around you who are starting to develop perimenopausal symptoms? All of a sudden, they're allergic to everything? Things that you weren't allergic to before, all of a sudden you have all of these allergies. Where did they come from? Out of the blue. Yesterday I could have this, today I can't. All of a sudden, right? These are all clear indications. So this Be Energetic actually helps your histamine levels. Okay, also, it helps stress, it helps reduce stress levels, it helps your sleep, and we know sleep is very important, and helps absorb iron. Okay, so this is important. When we're talking about absorbing your iron, absorbing your iron, your body is fighting for all of these minerals, and if you're not putting it in a state that it can absorb everything, you know what happens? It becomes confused. It becomes confused and it adheres to the wrong minerals. So you start developing other symptoms. And it helps overall nutrient absorption. So nutrient absorption is key for menopause because it's your body lacking a lot of minerals. You're going through a surge of mineral deficiency. Another one, I talk about your cortisol levels so many times. So white American ginseng actually helps external and internal stresses, and it functions as an adaptogen. So I always love incorporating white American ginseng into your life, helps your cortisol levels. Questions, okay. I have so many things to discuss, okay? So I wanna open it up. I have a couple testimonials that I would love to have them come on and say a little bit of what happened to them before and after, and then we can open it up to everyone to ask any questions, but feel free to ask it in the chat as well. So let's have our first guest. Is Sonia on? Can we look? Council, can we look and see if Sonia is on? Sonia.
Yep, she's there.
Okay, Sonia, can you share?
Yeah.
Can you share your experience before and after Purium?
Sure, I can do that. I started Purium. Actually, I contacted Tas because I was experiencing the beginning of my period changing, and so I thought, okay, here we go. This is happening. So I decided that, yeah, I need something, like, I don't know much about the estrogen and hormones, and I know that everything is linked to diet. This is what I do know. I've been an activist in the food, organic food movement for like 25 years. So I'm like, what can I do to optimize this situation of, menopause, which is like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm already going through this. So I was experiencing, weight gain, bloating, my hair thinning, things like that. And so I tried the ultimate lifestyle transformation and added the ginseng to that. And it was amazing, like within a few days and even a week, the transformation I was feeling, I ended up losing about 12 pounds during that month. And that's it, the bloating totally went down. Like I still have my little mama pouch, I call it, because I've had cesareans when I gave birth. And I just accept that my body, like this whole thing of like, it's the way it is, and I'm in this other phase of my life now, the phase of wisdom. And so I was like, okay, how do I optimize? I've never had a hot flash, and I've been on the products ever since. And I became a brand partner as well, because I was like, wow, this is amazing. People have to know about this. And so I jumped in and So yeah, what else is there to say? I love these products, and I like that everything is in one place, because it's true when you're trying to find your own recipes and herbals, and and I know a lot about herbals, and I drink herbal tea. But this way it's just simpler. And when you don't feel like making a meal, or like eating 3 big salads, or like, it's just simplifies my life, and I can focus on other things. And so I feel great. I feel like that's it. My skin has gotten better, my hair. I just yeah, it's been really beneficial for me. And even if in the winter I put on a bit more, now I want to do another 30 days. And I'm going to do a group one, actually. So I'm inviting people that I know to join me, and to kind of have this 30-day transformation, because it's so beneficial. And now with the spring coming and everything, I think the timing is perfect for like, and we know that detoxing allows us to, absorb everything better. So but it's not a harsh detox. It's like it's a gentle, nourishing. So as it cleanses, it also brings in all the nutrients, which is, so you don't feel tired and all of that, because anyone who's done different detoxes knows that some of them are like, you can't even, get out of bed for a day or two. And I haven't quit coffee, but I have just one in the morning with like a bulletproof thing. And I allow myself that. No guilt. And because that's the thing, the whole mental, telling ourselves that we're on this path of healing, of transformation, of being gentle with ourselves, of like, it's not about perfection. It's about becoming the best version of you, right? So that's really the path that I'm on. And yeah, and I invite, that's my, I guess that's it.
Thank you, Sonia. I love hearing this. So, what I'm hearing at the beginning, what Sonia was saying, the weight gain, this is what was affecting her, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, something's happening. Maybe I'm going through perimenopause. Okay, so weight gain is a direct indication that you're having too much estrogen in your body. Okay, there's so many factors that happens, right? We know, I did a call on this about BPAs, how BPAs mimic your estrogen. These are the xenoestrogen that mimics, and you have all environmental toxins, from the cleaning products to everything we use. If you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin. Remember, your skin.
This I've known for a long time, though. I don't, none of that is happening in my environment, really. As little as possible. Again, we're part of this all together. But when you're aware of that, even Johnson & Johnson talc and all these things, like, I mean, everything they sell in the pharmacy is basically toxic. So.
But even things that are labeled natural, even when they're labeled natural, does not mean that they're chemical free. You always have to turn them around and read the ingredients, because there's so many products. This is called greenwashing. There's a lot of products that look they look healthy. They make it all green with plants on them, but they're not healthy. So always educate yourself on ingredients and read your labels, okay? So when you gain weight, it's usually estrogen dominance, okay? You have an increased level of estrogen. And because another symptoms also of perimenopause is anxiety, depression, and that is your progesterone levels, okay? And they need to be balanced for you to have the optimal menopause symptoms, right? Okay. Should we go to Steph now? Steph, are you here? Is she in and out, or is she here? Chairwoman, are you here?
It was here earlier. I'm looking.
I see her, but I see her name, but I don't hear her. Should we get back?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Steph.
I just got unmuted.
Oh. So are you able to talk? Are you in a good connection?
Yeah, you'll have to tell me that, Taz, but I hear you loud and clear, and you're just doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so I know that you have an amazing postmenopausal story.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So I'll go back in time a little bit, and then we'll bring you up to the future. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Yeah. So just before I found Purium, I was a hot mess. I was having wicked night flashes, hot flashes at night, just like you were saying, between 2 and 4, Taz. And sugar was my friend. So I was reading all your slides, going, "Yep, that was me. That was me." Alcohol, yes. Caffeine, yes. Dairy, yes. I was doing all the things, right? And so, anyways, I found Purium, and I was doing the core 4, and I was doing our cleanses. And yes, I added in white American ginseng and Super Life back then, Taz. This is what's interesting, right? So I worked with my own symptoms of menopause and came out the other side feeling so much better. And as so many of you know, I've lost 50 pounds on our protocols, and so, and I thought I was going to be living with that body for the rest of my life. Like, I really did not know what to do. So I'm so grateful to Purium forever for the weight loss. And now, coming up to the current experience of life, I'm now postmenopausal, and I was just sharing with Taz somewhat vulnerably, this is a vulnerable share for me, that my libido has gone away. And she and I were talking, and she's like, I said, maybe I should bring back the white American ginseng. She's like, definitely bring it back. So I'm in this place now, gosh, 7 years postmenopausal, Taz, and I haven't touched the white American ginseng in all these years. And so it's time to bring it back. And I think the Super Life too. Do you think, Taz? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to ask
Okay.
you a question. How about your bone density?
What about it?
How's it doing?
I don't know. How would I know?
So this is a time, once you start going through post-menopause, this is a time that you have to start looking at bone density, okay? Osteoporosis and the absorption of calcium, now we have to start looking at that because the balance of your estrogen and your progesterone levels are sometimes not in balance, right? And the estrogen levels, they control the bone, the cell breakdown, okay? But your progesterone creates new bone tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great. This is good to know. Yeah, I guess I should be thinking about all that. I really don't think of myself as 57. It's part of the problem. Like 57 going on 37 over here. So but I feel strong, I work out, I dance, I walk. How does one test for bone density, Taz?
Well, you can go to the hospital, do a CBC, tell them that you want to do a bone density test. And okay, so when I say this, that it depends on your calcium. Take your biomedic every day because this is your absorption. Do not go out and buy calcium pills. Do not, okay? Because that can cause more long-term effects, okay? This,
Right.
buy calcium pills, this can cause heart disease. It could cause calcifications. Do not.
Yeah.
So that is a
No.
huge warning. Don't buy that. Get your calcium through food, okay?
Yes. Mhm.
So have all of your greens, all nuts. I love nuts. I love seeds, leafy greens, like overload your body on nutrition. I always say when you flood your body with nutrition, diseases cannot stick. Okay, so flood it with nutrition and have the absorption be key. Put your ionic elements, have your biomedic because you need to absorb and you need to have all of your minerals. And if I go through all the minerals that your body needs post-menopausal, this will be a call on its own. But just take the ionic elements as a simple form and you should be good. And I remember, Steph, I was recommending to you to use the honey in a honey.
Honey. Yes.
in a honeycomb form. So honey in a honeycomb form is even more superior than honey in like a jar, because now you're getting the cells of the honey and how the bees formed it, and like how they made it. It's like brilliant. I don't think we even understand how intricate they made their honeycomb. So have the honeycomb in the honeycomb, like eat the wax and everything. It all has properties that your body needs.
And you mentioned bee pollen too, which I just happen to have in my pantry too. So yeah, I really appreciate all that you know, Taz. And yes, I do ionic elements every day, and yes, I do biomedic every other day, actually, just because that's what I'm wanting to do right now. And obviously, I'm always on the core four. So thank you so much. I so appreciate you, Taz.
Thank you so much for connecting, and thank you for being here. Just hearing your voice, it feels like we see you.
Yeah, greetings from Big Sky, Montana, everyone. I'm at 8,000 foot elevation here.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Taz.
Thank you so much. So I just saw Tanya was asking what's honeycomb. Okay, so like they sell, you know, the honeycomb, what the bees, they make the honey in, they sell it with the wax, with the comb. Like they sell it like, Jody, do you want to explain it?
Well, yeah, you just literally buy a piece of honeycomb and eat it. But I was going to bring up, there's a discussion in the chat, and it's something I'm curious about too. I know that all hormones start with pregnenolone, and then it goes progesterone, testosterone, estrogen. It doesn't go backwards, it only goes forward. And so that's one of the reasons why progesterone is hard and gets low. And we know flax seeds and soy and the red clover support estrogen. We know the velvet deer and super life supports testosterone. What supports raising progesterone?
Okay, so this is how it works. It works together because the testosterone makes the progesterone and the estrogen.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought it went pregnenolone, progesterone, testosterone, estrogen.
Yes, 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 it is. But they all have to be in a certain balance, right? They have to be in a certain balance to make that. Okay, okay, it's not going, that's why Super Life works, because it increases your testosterone, which leads to the progesterone, which leads to everything, right? It's a cascading effect. So this is why whenever we talk about Super Life, Dave said, he's like, you know, it increases testosterone. Yes, but women can use it too, because it converts to progesterone for us. And this is what we need to look at, well, I mean, you know, with a cascading effect, right? And
I have a question about that, because I've always been taught progesterone comes first and makes testosterone, but it doesn't go the other direction. Am I wrong? Was I taught wrong? And this was by like my saved my baby's life doctor who explained it. So that's why I'm so confused.
So what happens is that our bodies are full of ways that it mimics estrogen levels, right? So then you have an influx of all the toxins in your body, right? So it depends where your body is at. No, you're right how it works, but sometimes we have mimicking estrogen levels. So we have to focus on getting those out before everything else starts to work, right? Because the body doesn't know what to recognize anymore. It sees something and it's like, well, that must be food. You're feeding it to me. So it just starts eating on that. But this is not what your body needs. And then it just makes other things, which the cascading effect is always something not good for your body. So that's why whenever we start with the ultimate lifestyle transformation, it detoxes the first pathway. It detoxes whatever needs to be cleansed first before you get to, now you need your production of testosterone. Now you need your estrogen level. Whatever that needs to happen, then it leads there. And always check your estrogen levels, okay? To see if you have something that's estrogen dominant, right? So if you have a higher level of estrogen dominance, then you have to be more careful, you know? Like I don't worry about soy products. I think soy is really beneficial for our bodies, right? But a lot of people cannot ingest it. So I mean, it depends, right? But as an overall, just make sure your hormones are balanced. I hope that answers it.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Camille.
Hi, I can't come on camera. I'm driving, so hopefully my reception stays. But excuse me. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the products that are high in calcium. I honestly pretty much live off of Purium. I can't see myself like loading up on lots of greens for the calcium. I'd rather just do a shake at this point. And then you know, with the sex drive, I'm experiencing that as well. I am taking the Joint Flex, and I noticed it had Velvet Antler in there as well. But just curious if, you know, if the Super Life was necessary, or if it's the Velvet Antler that's really the component that I need to be taking in. And then the weight gain, do you have any suggestions with that? I am exercising regularly, but I noticed a really high weight gain after the summer. And that's what made me think that I'm going into perimenopause. So just curious about that too.
Okay, so I'm hearing summer. Were you outside a lot in the summer, like maybe at a park or outdoor activities? Camille? Okay, so why I asked that question is because that could have been a field that was sprayed with pesticides, right? Glyphosate. Maybe she had an influx with glyphosate toxicity. You have to look at all the environmental toxins, right? And it could be BPAs, it could be everything else around her. You have to look at your environmental toxins as well, because we are bombarded as a society with toxins, okay? And the super
Yeah.
The Super Life has a velvet antler, which I love, and it has something else called long jack extract. So this as well helps your testosterone. It helps your hormone levels. So I think that's why this one is so great. So incorporate that. For the calcium, I like the green spectrum. The green spectrum has all your leafy greens, and incorporate nuts and seeds, all nuts and seeds into your life for calcium. What else for calcium? Jody, any other suggestions from Purium products with calcium?
No, I think you're right on that. It's going to be mostly your greens. And what happens, I think, where people get confused with calcium is magnesium gets low, and calcium and magnesium need to be in a 2-to-1 ratio. And it's really the magnesium that's the problem, not the calcium. There's calcium in almost everything you eat, but there's not magnesium, which is why we push the ionic elements so hard, because it's high in magnesium.
Okay, great. So I am taking those, and I've noticed a huge shift. And then there's magnesium in the super xanthan, isn't there? Or is it, I know it's in the super, or the super lights, but is it in super xanthan?
No, magnesium is not
Okay.
in either one of those products. It's only in the ionic elements. However, you did mention something that I want to talk about. So super xanthan is actually really important to incorporate as well for hot flashes, because it helps lower your body temperature. So
Yeah, I take it consistently. Awesome. Yeah, and I noticed my weight gain after I came back from Hawaii. I was there for 2 weeks for a business retreat, but I live in Chicago, so I'm inundated with glyphosate and, you know, all of the toxins. I live in the city, so it's raining down on me. So that's interesting.
have you ever seen the movie Poisoning Paradise?
No, it's on my list though.
Yeah, because we had a screening with the director of that movie, and she talks about how in Hawaii they spray a lot of things. It was the testing ground for glyphosate. So it brings your attention to you're probably in an area that was surged with glyphosate toxicity. So that could be a reason of your weight gain. It could be your hormones. Always do a thyroid panel testing. And yes, on Netflix, I don't know where it is. Maybe the council can help me. Do we have any more questions?
I'm going to unmute Kendi.
Okay. Hi, Kendi.
Hello, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. But I'm learning so much. I'm new in the company, but I do want to say that I'm interested to know what is the instructions that I need to give my sister. She's autistic, and since I'm barely new about the products, you guys are the experts. So what can you tell me and how to take the products?
Okay, you said autistic, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so we do these calls every Friday, okay? And
Yes.
we have all of these calls on our social media. So on YouTube, we have all of our past Fierce Fridays. So I think we did do one on autism with Dave's wife, Annie, and they were talking about that. And they gave a protocol that works best for them and that they've seen. So I would highly recommend that you share this video with your sister and take a look at it yourself. And the more you plug in, the more you learn. So welcome.
Thank you.
Can I toss something in here on the autism thing? I put this in the chat, but autism is a behavioral diagnosis, not a physical one. And so there isn't going to be a set protocol because the underlying cause of those behaviors may be different depending on what's happening in the individual's body. That said, nutrition always helps and minerals always help. So my kind of first line of thought with autism is epigenous kids and ionic elements. Because you're going to get all that nutrition and all those minerals, and that's never going to hurt you. The one thing to be careful with is in autism is sometimes it's very, very high toxicity. And if they start with the epigenous and the biomedic is too much and they detox too fast, that could be a problem. But the minerals help bind toxins, which is why you want to put them together. But I just wanted to throw them out there because a lot of times people ask, what do I do for autism? Well, there's like a gazillion different causes of the symptoms that are diagnosed as autism. So always start with nutrition and then try and figure out what the underlying cause is so you can treat that rather than the symptoms.
Can I say something? I'm not too sure what the cause is. She's being diagnosed with that since 2 years old. We don't know the causes of that. They never told us. So how can I find out what the underlying cause is?
Tess, you want to go? You want me to?
Go ahead.
You're going to need to go to an alternative doctor, a regular conventional doctor, unless they've been trained in holistic treatment, probably is not going to be the way that you figure that out, because you need to know what's the mineral balances, what's the heavy metal loads, is there candida overgrowth, is there problems in the central nervous system with things like demyelinization caused from too much aluminum. There's a lot of different, is there really, really high inflammation in the body? So biomedic is going to bring that inflammation down. It's going to take heavy metals out. Assist the body in doing that. And none of our products do anything. They support the body in doing what the body naturally does anyway. So that's kind of why I went with that route. But a regular conventional doctor is typically not going to test all those things that either an osteopath or an integrative functional doctor, those types of routes are the way you're going to go. Tass, you want to add to that?
I mean, I think it depends. Everything depends, right? There's so many things. It could be overloaded of toxicity, but come talk to us after this, because I mean, there's so many things that we can tell you.
Yeah, because I based it on, I went by the list. Actually, I went ahead and got it because I was so desperate and very, very sad to see her in the way she's getting, because she's suicidal. And it just breaks me, I'm the older sister. And to be honest, like I just went ahead and got the products. But at the same time, I don't know, like, what do you, like, I follow the list of what David Sandoval said on the website. So I don't know if this is something good I did or not.
Nutrition can only help.
Never bad, right?
So she's so lucky to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Amanda, I'm gonna unmute you.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I've used Purium for a while. I do love the products. I was curious, what do you recommend besides Biomedic to help with malabsorption? Because it's something I've had for several years and it's kind of been ongoing.
Okay, so I know Jody, I know you recommend ionic elements with the Aloe Digest, right?
Yeah, or with the Biomedic to help with that and to soothe, right?
Mhm.
But what else would you add?
Nothing else.
I mean, just the deep nutrition, the higher nutrition you're getting in there, the more likely you are to absorb more of it. But it really is about healing the gut. So the aloe products, the minerals, and the Biomedic, anything with the fulvic and humic is going to help with that. And you know what? What about probiotics and enzyme advantage? Those would be the other two.
And start looking at hormone-free foods. Okay, so if you have any meats, eggs, dairy, like we live a plant-based life, but if it's something that you have in your life, make sure they're all hormone-free.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so what was the last you said? She had said probiotics, and what was the other one? I didn't recognize that name.
Time advantage.
All right, I'm gonna write that down.
It's food enzymes. It helps support your pancreas in making the enzymes help you digest the food. It's not a malabsorption problem, but a digestion problem because you're not breaking the food down. The enzyme advantage will help with that.
And what was that called again? Sorry.
Enzyme
Enzyme
advantage.
advantage.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And you think that along with the mineral one would be a nice combination?
And aloe.
Aloe.
Aloe
Well, and
Digest.
advantage, let's make sure we're being clear on the call for all of you guys. If your pancreas is making enough enzymes to help you digest, you don't need it. But if your pancreas is out of balance, then it will help with that. So and the other thing that we don't have in our line, but sometimes people are having problems with stomach acid. And so they're not breaking things down because they have low stomach acid. And so there are different things you can do for that. One of the keys though is your adrenals being in balance. And I'm just realizing it's 12:59 and this is an hour call. So we should probably wrap up, which is my job. Tas, you're amazing. I love your knowledge and I learned so much. So thank you. Thank you for everyone who dropped on with questions and in the chat and you guys who are willing to come on here live. We really appreciate it. Next week, we're doing branding, right? I don't have it in front of me. Yes, creating your brand. So Naeva and Carmela are leading that together so you can kind of get in your lane and help people know who you are and how you represent yourself on social media and out in the world in any of your marketing. So next week is Business Forward, Fierce Friday. The recording of this will go up on YouTube later this afternoon. And we always post that in our group when that comes up and on Instagram. So thank you all. Have an amazing weekend and we will see you next week.